The title of today's video is The Stress Response. As you know, HR managers have a seemingly endless list of responsibilities. Being a manager can feel like you're the meat in the sandwich. There's the pressure from above to perform and get the best out of your staff, and then there's the pull from below for support and recognition. As a manager, you're expected to be the rock, the go-to, the manager, the person that actually provides support and empathy, but at the same time gets the best out of your staff. As I know this personally, this places significant pressure on a manager's mental health. And if not managed effectively, acute stress is inevitable. Let me ask you a question. Who's supporting you? I'm Steve Wilmot. I'm a mental health clinician with 16 years experience, and I hold a master's degree in forensic mental health. In today's video, I'm going to explain in detail the true cause of stress and the myth of stress and how you can prevent stress in the first place. Stress can be defined as physical, mental, or emotional strain or tension. It's a fairly broad and kind of non-specific definition. In order to explain what stress is, the stress response, I'm going to use an example. So let's say I'm walking down the street and it's a suburban neighborhood, and all of a sudden a dog, a big guard dog, breaks free from behind a fence and starts attacking me. Now, in order for me to survive, there needs to be rapid changes in my physiology. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, at that time, prior to the dog attack, my heart rate was only at about 60 beats per minute. And that's not going to keep me safe. My heart rate needs to be double that at least, for complex reasons, but basically to fuel the energy that's required, the glucose in my body, and also the oxygen that needs to be delivered around my body at a rapid rate. And what does that? The heart does that. So what happens is the fight or flight stress response kicks in. Stress hormones are released into my bloodstream. What are they? That's adrenaline, and another one called glucocorticoids. Now, these stress hormones create a cascade of physiological changes to fuel this response. What happens then? As I said, heart rate, bang, goes up, like it doubles at least. My blood pressure goes up. My breathing rate gets rapid. My oxygen consumption goes up. Pupils dilate so I can see more. Glucose rapidly sent to my muscles to fuel my muscles so that we can get the hell out of there. Now, all these changes take place, like I said, to keep us safe from imminent life-threatening danger. And this survival trait, it actually emerged in the human species many, many moons ago. It evolved at a time when life was more simplistic. Life might have been more dangerous and unpredictable in a lot of ways, but it was more simplistic in that what did you have to do? You had to find shelter, find food, procreate, and stay safe. So this fight or flight mechanism was designed to be used occasionally when we're faced with imminent life-threatening danger. Now, the problem is in modern society, it's become more complicated, and the same stress response is activated whether we're faced with real danger, like a dog attacking us, or perceived danger, okay? And when we have this thing where this perceived danger, anxiety, or we call it these days, the body wasn't meant to function this way. And when the fight or flight response, the stress response, is activated constantly or regularly, it actually damages the body. It damages the cardiovascular system, it damages the arteries in the heart and cardiovascular system, it damages the immune system, it damages the mind, it causes problems throughout the body when it's activated constantly, all the time. That's a brief rundown. Now, I want to talk about the nervous system now. So there's two main parts to the nervous system. There's the voluntary nervous system and the involuntary nervous system. Now, the voluntary nervous system is when I reach my hand out to shake someone's hand. I decide to do that myself, right? Hence voluntary. Now, the involuntary nervous system is the autonomic nervous system. As the name suggests, it's automatic. So an example of that is I'm sweating on a hot day. Well, the body senses that I'm getting too hot, and it activates the sweat, and I start to cool down. Now, I didn't ask my brain to do that. It did it for me. So, as I said, this is the autonomic nervous system, and it's got two sides, with the stress response and the relaxation response. We won't talk about that today, that's for next time, but today I'm talking about the stress response, and it's also known as fight or flight, and like I said, it's called the sympathetic nervous system. Now, as you can see, like a seesaw here, when the stress response side is switched on, the relaxation response side is switched off. And this is because you can't be stressed out and calm and relaxed at the same time. They're polar opposites. And the physiology, the changes in the body are the exact opposite too. And that's another reason why they both can't be activated together. So this would be when I'm being attacked by the dog. Rapid changes in physiology. That's when the stress hormones are released, the blood pressure increases, the heart rate increases. This is all the sympathetic nervous system, the stress response. A couple of years ago, I was a passenger on a long-haul flight, and midway through the flight, the captain got on the microphone and gave everybody a warning about the very bumpy conditions, quote unquote, we're about to experience. I knew it was going to be very bumpy because when the captain gives you a warning like this, it was serious. I was traveling alone and I happened to be sitting between two men, one either side, and the guy on my left was reacting in a very different way to the man on my right, to the turbulence. The guy on my left was reacting, well, he was freaking out. He was having pretty much a panic attack. I could hear him muttering all sorts of things and almost shouting them out. I turned to look at him and he was hyperventilating. He was breathing rapidly. He was sweating profusely. His pupils were dilated. He was clutching onto the armrest. You could see the whites of his fingernails. And he was clearly having, like I said, a panic attack. The guy on my right, though, was calm, like unfazed, and reading his book. His breathing was normal, his colour looked good. He was having the complete opposite reaction to the guy on my left. And both men were experiencing the same situation, the same external event, which was turbulence, severe turbulence, but both having completely different reactions. Why? Well, I can almost guarantee the guy on my left had an attitude or a belief, a mental filter around flying in terms of probably that would have involved something about turbulence being unsafe or dangerous, and the more severe the turbulence gets, the more risk we are of dying, which is actually not true. That's a false belief, because if you speak to anybody that knows about flying and turbulence isn't dangerous. It's like bumps in the air. It's just pockets of air. It's not dangerous. There's certainly other things on planes that can be dangerous, like fires or terrorists, blowing things up. That's dangerous. Or engine failing. Look, big trouble on a plane. But turbulence, no, it's not big trouble at all. So anyway, this guy clearly had a false belief, a mental filter about flying and turbulence, whereas this guy on my right didn't. And hence their reactions were very different. This response here, the guy on the left, it's called the psychological stress response. So his mind was causing his body to react in the way it was with this stress response. Now, it doesn't matter whether the fear is real, like a dog attacking you, or the fear is imagined, like turbulence on a plane, the body reacts in the same way. The physiological response in the body is the same whether you're being attacked by a dog, the real fear or the real danger, or the perceived danger, being on a flight and reacting this way. So imagine you want to take some photos. Imagine you've got a camera and you're in a beautiful location and you want to take some photos, but the lens of your camera is cracked and faulty. And so it doesn't matter how good the location is, like the beautiful scenery, if the lens of the camera, which arguably is the most important part of the camera, is damaged or not working properly, you're not going to get very good photos. So if your brain was the lens of a camera, if you've got a mental filter, a cracked camera lens, or a filter that's not working, not serving you, then it doesn't matter how good the things are in your life around you, how you perceive and experience life is not going to be very good. You're not going to get very good pictures of your environment. So the man sitting to my left on that plane having a panic attack, clearly his lens was cracked and it wasn't serving him. Stress is preventable. Imagine your mind was a garden bed and your subconscious mind was filled with weeds, such as limiting beliefs. These mental weeds or mental filters are the true cause of stress, not the environment itself. So it doesn't matter how good you make the garden bed, you can improve the soil and give it water and light, etc. But if the garden bed has weeds in it, there's still a problem in the garden. So solving the enormous problem of workplace stress involves removing these mental weeds from the garden bed with their roots. Once the mental weeds have been removed from your garden bed, everything changes. Your life will go from strength to strength in terms of your personal life, but also your professional life. As a HR manager, you'll be functioning at your best and be able to support your staff at the level they need to be supported at, and you'll get the best out of your staff and get the most satisfaction you've ever had in your role. And personally, you'll find that your relationships will go through the roof, as will your mental health and your physical health too. That's all I have time for today. Thanks for watching. I'm Steve Wilmot, and until next time, bye for now.